Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Masterclass webinar. Today, we'll continue exploring the Instructor's Toolkit, everything you need to know on how to create engaging courses and informative courses as well. But before I give you more details on what I'm about to discuss with you later on, let's do the proper introductions first. My name is Irini. I'm a Senior Customer Enablement Consultant, and I'm here today with two colleagues of mine, Anastasia and Danny.
Hello, everybody. I'm Anastasia. I'm a customer enablement specialist, and today we're here to show you how you can elevate learner engagement and optimize content delivery for maximum impact.
Hi everyone, I'm Danny. I'm an account manager, and today we're going to explore features in TalentLMS that can help you to create structured or flexible learning pathways to enhance your training delivery and user experience.
Great. And before we continue, a quick reminder, this webinar is being recorded and you will all receive a copy once the session concludes. So then you will be able to share it with any of your colleagues. And we're also hosting a live Q&A throughout the session. This is your opportunity, as always, to ask any questions you have about TalentLMS. We have Ioannis and Corina in the background, who will be answering questions actively throughout the session. And of course, some of them will be addressed live. Just use the meeting control panels to address your questions. And of course, you can post them anonymously too. Now, as I was saying at the beginning, we'll continue exploring the Instructor's Toolkit. So today we will unfold part 2 of this series, during which we will discuss what happens next, meaning after we have created our content, which is the course delivery. Feel free to watch part 1 if you haven't already. Ioannis will be posting the link in the chat right now, so you can click it and save it for later. And let's see what would be the agenda for today. So today, the first topic of discussion would be how to share our information, course information within the course easily and effectively. Then we will shift the discussion with Anastasia demonstrating how we can set up boundaries for effective learning. And then Danny will continue demonstrating completion settings and how we can build learning pathways. And of course, the live Q&A that will take place. So let me really quick change my screen, and I have a note right now. At some point, we might need to switch roles between admins and instructors. If that happens, don't worry if you're going to get lost during the way. Since you will be receiving the copy of this webinar, you will be able to follow us along at your own pace the following day. So what would be the first topic? How we can share course information easily and effectively. And I will be working with the course that we have been building with Anastasia since part 1, the critical thinking and problem solving. And I will be clicking the edit course button. Now, the page that you see here is the course info page. This is where the learner will see the title of our course and, of course, the list of content and files that they need to download, something that we elaborated in part 1. Now, when it comes into the title, this is very crucial. We need to use clear and to the point titles. And of course, we can also upload the thumbnail image through here and add our own description. Now, something that we have recently released is the AI allowing us to build a description and generating an image based on the title. So the more clear and to the point the title is, the better. And as you can see, it has already added a description here, which of course I can adjust. So for example, if I don't like this last sentence, I can highlight and the format bar will come up where I can add some background color. I can make the color bold, or I can also use the AI to improve the writing, make a spelling or a grammar check, or even change the tone or make it longer or shorter like this. Really quick, efficiently, you have a foundation where you can start working on. Now, what happens though if you would like to highlight some information out of this description that would be, let's say, appearing here on the top like labels? So, this important information that you don't want to get lost through this description. In this case, we can utilize the custom course fields. And for this, I will go back as an admin click the account and settings, and through the courses tab, I will go all the way down to custom course fields. Now, with the custom course fields, you can build fields that will be appearing on the course info page. So let's start by giving them a name, and I will add the instructor. I will create an instructor field. And from this drop-down menu, I will select the input method. Now, since I want to include the names of the instructors, I will go with the drop-down menu, and I will be adding our names. So it's going to be me, hitting the enter button, Dani, and Anastasia. And of course, we have some options here, like make these fields mandatory, visible on reports, if this is something that we want to take under consideration, and visible to learners, which is the most important thing in this demonstration. So I'm going to enable it, hit the save button, and go back to courses and in the course that we're working with. And now where I'm going to go is to course options, info, and the custom course field is visible here. Of course, you can add some more if you want to. And at this point, I will select Anastasia as the instructor of this course, click the save button, and the custom course field is appearing here as a label. So this is how you can quickly highlight some information here on the top of the description. Now, let's see what other information we can share through this info tab. So we have the categories. The categories are here to help us organize our course catalog and our course list if we are working as admins as well. Now, the categories is something that the admins will need to create. We have demonstrated a lot of times in previous webinars. But as an instructor, I'm afraid you cannot create your own category. So you will need to ask your administrators to do so on your behalf. However, if the category is already in the drop-down menu, just select it like this. Of course, you can see that I have also subcategories as well, but let's go with this category for now. And also, we can utilize the codes. Now, traditionally, the courses will be sorted out alphabetically depending on the name. But if you want to change this sorting and appear and show off, let's say, the courses in a certain way when it comes into the learner's dashboards, you can utilize course codes. This could be numbers, could be letters, could be a combination of both. So I'm just going to use the CT001 in this case, hit the save button. And you can see that from this page, the learner can check the category it belongs to and the course code as well. Now, another thing we can also utilize in here through the info tab is the intro video. Now, this is the type of video which will not work as a training material. It works like the trailer to the movie. It gives you a short description of what are the benefits of this course, let's say, in a visual format. And for this, you can either upload your own videos through here, or you can also use a YouTube video. Now, as I said, this is not working as a training material. It's basically a video that will promote, let's say, the course and will increase the engagement. So just for the sake of this demonstration, I'm just gonna paste a URL in here. This is an intro from a talent library course that we have. Hit the save button and the intro video button will appear here and the learner will click it and by hitting the play button can watch the intro video. This is optional and we don't have a method to track who has watched the video or not. And last but not least, what if you are selling courses? In TalentLMS, we have the option to sell courses through our e-commerce solution. Of course, you can set up prices for your standalone courses, and this is where you will find the field. So if I scroll a little bit further down, I can set up the price here. So let's say $30. Click the save button. Oops, 27, okay, discount. And the price appears here. So this is where the user will click in order to complete their own purchase. Now, before I pass the mic to Anastasia, something really important that works as a tip, basically. Apart from the course info page, which as we progress throughout the topics that Anastasia and Dani will discuss with you, and you will see that the page will also host more information. But for now, we're in this version, apart from the course info page, you can also share information for your units. So if you have certain units like video units or simple content units, and you would like to share some specific guidelines of how the learners will manage these units or what is this unit about, you can definitely do that. So if I click, for example, in this unit, which is basically an iframe an iframe unit that hosted a link here, you see that we have the description here on the top or on the bottom. So if I want to share some additional information of how the users could work with this iframe unit, I could paste the information in here. And of course, if I highlight something, the bar will open up in order for me to format the text or request for the AI to fix the spelling or translating a different language. And that's it from my end. So I'm going to pass the mic to Anastasia so she can demonstrate how we can set up boundaries in our courses.
Thank you, Irene. And today, as Irene mentioned, I'll be talking about the importance of setting boundaries and limits for courses to create a more structured and effective learning experience for our learners. I think I haven't shared my screen yet, so let me click here to share my screen. Yes, whoops. Let me share it once more because, oh, there we go. Okay, now we see the correct screen. And I was talking about boundaries. So when learners have clear guidelines such as deadlines or access restrictions, they can stay more focused and engaged. By implementing boundaries, you can ensure consistency, improve knowledge retention, and create a learning experience that is more goal-oriented. Now, let's explore how we can set these limits effectively with TalentLMS. As you can see, I'm already logged in as an administrator, and of course, I will be editing me to the critical thinking and problem solving course. And in order to start implementing the boundaries I have just mentioned on this course, we need to go to this button here, our course options, and let's click on the availability tab to see what we can do from here. If we want to hide our course from our course catalog, we just need to toggle this button and save our option. Now, all the courses that we create are by default appearing in our course catalog and are available to our learners. Now, if for some reason we need to hide this course from the course catalog. Let's say that it's a course that only the managers of the department will need to take, and we don't want the course to be available for the rest of the employees of the department. We can just simply hide it. And of course, we will enroll the managers that will be the learners of the course manually, and they will be having no issue to access the content of the course and go through it and completing it. Now let's say that we would allow self-enrollment of this course. We can just leave this option enabled, and we would like to set a maximum number of capacity for the course, meaning that only a certain limit of users will be allowed to enroll to the course, to be added to the course. And once this limit is reached, let me just add 20 as my maximum capacity for this. So once this limit of 20 users is reached, the course will disappear from our course catalog and preventing additional enrollments. However, as the instructor of the course, we will always be able to manually enroll learners if needed. That is a good case if you want to add a maximum capacity. It would be a good case if you are selling courses and you would like to restrict the number of licenses you would like to give for this specific course. Now, let's move into the Limits tab and see some more restrictions we can set for our learners here. You might have some time-sensitive courses which need to be completed in a specific time frame. So from the time frame option here, you can add a start date from the course. A pop-up calendar will pop up, and you can select the date that you would like this course to start. You can also set the start time. Now, you can enroll all the learners to this course, but unless the start date is reached, no one will be able to access any content of the course. Of course, as you can see, you have the option to also add an end date, right? So let's add also an end date and an end time. This will mean that the users enrolled in the course will need to complete the course by this date. And once this date is reached, they will have no more access to your content. And let's discuss another scenario here. Let's say that we have an onboarding course for new hires, but of course, normally employees will be joining at different times. We don't want to set a fixed date, but we could use the time limit option. So here we can set the number of days that we would like to allow the new hires to complete the course, right? And this will be this number of days will start counting according to their enrollment date. As I mentioned before, if we add a due date, either via time limit or via the time frame option we saw before, once the deadline passes, all the users will be blocked outside of the content. However, if we would like to allow users who have completed the course content on time to keep accessing the content for further review, we could enable the access retention here. So only learners who have completed the course content on time will have access to the course after the time limit passes. Another thing you can do from the Limits tab is set prerequisite courses for the course that you are editing here. So the learners must complete a specific course that you will add here. Let me add this mastering negotiation. And my users would need to complete this prerequisite course before accessing the content of the critical thinking and problem solving. As soon as we save the prerequisite course option, you will see that a log has appeared here. So users will not have access to the course, and they can click on the log, click on the prerequisite course, and see which course they need to complete first in order to access the critical thinking course. Now, we can also restrict accessibility to this course by with another option too. And let me get back to the course options. So we also have a gamification setting named levels. Now, the admins of the portal should have enabled the gamification feature and also enabled the level setting in order to for this section to appear here. And we can set a level here for the course, specific like a specific gamification level that so we need to require the learners to reach this level in order to access the course. If we click on save, we will again see our log here. We continue seeing the restricted name, but if we click now, apart from the explorer of the prerequisite courses, we also have a level to reach in order to access the course. And last but not least, before I pass the mic to Danny, let me show you one more way to set boundaries, but this time on content access for your learners. Now, in part 2 of our Instructor's Toolkit Masterclass, we explored how sections help structure your course and guide learners through the material. You see here that we have added some sections with Irini, so these sections, to guide the learners through the different content of the course. But sections can also be used to enforce limits on when learners can access certain content. If we hover over the evaluation section here, when we click on the three dots, we have the option of the delay availability. Here we can set how many hours or days we would like to apply a delay for this section. And whenever we click on the save delay, we will see that the content below the evaluation section will be blocked for our users and will be available in 3 days. And how this delay availability will work, the delay will be based on each learner's enrollment date, meaning different learners may be at different stages, but everyone will experience the same structured pacing before reaching here key content like maybe any final quizzes or final assessment they need to access. This will help you set clear boundaries, ensuring learners engage with the course at a controlled pace rather than rushing through everything at once. And with that said, I will pass the mic over to Danny.
Thank you, Anastasia. I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen with you now. 1 second. Hopefully you can all see that now on the screen. So keeping with the theme of our instructor toolkit today, I'd like you to think about the last time you used a GPS. Probably a weird question to start with, but it will make sense. We use GPS systems every day. I think it's probably a very useful tool that we use. We probably can't live without them. And whether that's finding the fastest route from A to B, or maybe finding a more flexible route with some detours along the way, GPS helps us to navigate effectively. And in TalentLMS, we can do the same. And we can do the same using learning pathways. With the right tools, we can create structured or flexible learning paths that allow us to also keep our learners on track as well. So let's see how we can do that using a few different strategies here today. So I'm going to jump straight into the course that we've been editing already, critical thinking and problem solving. And I'm going to go and edit the course here. And we're going to jump straight into the course options, into the completion rules. Now, the first thing I'd like to show you today is the units ordering. In TalentLMS, we can decide the order in which the course units are going to be completed by the users. If we set them to a sequential order, which is actually the default setting here, this will mean that our learners will take the course as we've prepared it. From start to finish, it will take them by the hand, and the course will unfold in the order that we've set it up in. Now, if you want to add a bit more flexibility and movement within the course to your users, you can consider showing the units in any order. This will allow the users in the course to jump around, move to courses that are more advanced, more units that are more advanced in that course, and have a bit more flexibility to choose what they want to see first. Now, what we can also do within a course is we can set the completion rules. The completion rules define the conditions that are required for the course to be marked as completed. So we have various options here. The default option, as we can see, is when all units are completed, the course is marked as completed. Now, what if you have a number of different mandatory units and optional units within the course? Well, something we can do here is we can choose a selected test to be passed for the course to be marked as completed. If you have a mandatory test, something that's critical for your users to pass, you can set this up using these options here. Keep in mind that in order to see this option, you're going to have already created a test within your course. So if you haven't already, it would be a good time to try experimenting with creating a test. Now, you'll also notice that you can only select one test at a time. So let's go with this test unit. Now, in order to pass the course, our users must pass the mandatory test. Now, what happens if you would like your users to complete multiple units? Maybe you have multiple mandatory units there. So what we can do is we can go into selected units are completed. And as you can see here, this will allow me to select whichever units I deem to be mandatory. So we can pick up our test unit, and perhaps you want to add a couple of extra units there as well that will be mandatory for your users to take. So you can see you have a different approaches that you can take here. Another thing we can do, if you want to add a bit more flexibility, a bit more freedom, you can also select a percentage of units completed. Let's say that you have a course with 10 units. We can set the percentage to 50%. So out of those 10 units in the course, your users will only need to complete 5 out of the 10. And if you combine this with the unit ordering in any order, this will allow your users to move around the course and select which units they want to complete before the course is completed. Now, let's move on to the certificates. So once our users have completed the course, we want to perhaps mark the end of their learning journey with a certificate. Now, in TalentLMS, you can create, design, upload, customize your very own unique certificates. And once you've done that, you can assign them to your courses. So I'm going to assign a fancy certificate today. And what you can also do is you can also preview the certificate. So keep in mind, you can always take a look at what the end user is going to receive as their certificate there as well. Now, once I've set up my certificate for the course, you can also set the duration. So by default, the certificates are forever. However, you may have courses that expire after a certain amount of time. You may also have certificates that expire as well. So you can select a duration. We have some set durations here. You can also go ahead and pick your own custom duration in days. And you can also, of course, pick a specific expiration date if you have a specific date in mind. So once you've added your duration for the certificate, you can also take advantage here of a very handy automation that can reassign the courses to your users. So if you do have certificates expiring either on the certificate expiry date or a little bit of time before, for example, a week or 30 days before, if you select this option here, your users will be automatically reassigned the course so they can continue the training and get recertified with minimal admin work from your side as well. So a very handy automation there that you can use when you're working with certificates if they have a duration there as well. So it's always good to keep that in mind. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to move out of here. We've talked about the completion rules on a course level. Let's go a look now at completing units and the different unit options that we have. So you may remember in part 1 of our instructor toolkit, we showed you how to work with standard content, things like content pages, web pages, iframe units, presentations, videos, audios, for example. The special thing about these units is that they have their own unit options, as we can see here, if I click into here. Now, from the unit options, we can add additional ways or that the users can actually complete these units. Now, by default, each standard content unit is completed with a button. Your users will click a continue button to simply move on to the next unit. However, if you want to add perhaps a little bit more engagement there, if you want to perhaps check your users' understanding of what they've been looking at so far, perhaps you could consider adding a question before they continue. If you select here to complete the unit with a question, you are able to perhaps add a question that you already have added to your course, so you can recycle any questions you have there, or you can go ahead and create your own question from scratch using the different options here. And as I said before, this could allow your users to perhaps answer something, add a bit more engagement before they move on, and add this little bit of interaction to the units. Now, keep in mind here that the answers to these questions are not recorded in the progress. They're simply there for your users to answer before then moving on to the next units as well. Now, another scenario, perhaps you want to make sure that your users are not skipping ahead too quickly in courses, a very common issue there. So what we can do is perhaps we can also set another option here, which is after a period of time. We can set a time limit here in seconds. So, for example, after 10 seconds, the continue button will then be revealed to your users. So you can add a little bit of time there. Now, if you are working with videos, this can be a good way to go about things. And you can also take advantage here of 2 extra features. If you are uploading your own videos to these units, you can also synchronize the timer with the video. So you don't need to work out how much time to allow. If you have a 3-minute video and you've synchronized the timer with the video, the timer will, of course, have 3 minutes before the user can continue. And Another option here you can use, you can also follow the auto pause video option here. So if, for example, your users decide, or if they wander away from the video and change tabs at any point, the video will simply pause until the users return to the video to continue watching it. So this way you can make sure that your users don't miss a thing when it comes to their training, they remain engaged, and they stay within the course and the units for the correct allocated amount of time as well. So quite a handy tip there. Now, what we can also do next is look at something to do with assignments. I'm going to go into an assignment unit here. And again, in part one of our instructor toolkit, we looked at how we can set up assignments, how we can work with different assignments. You can find the recording in the chat today as well. What I'm going to show you specifically here is how we can set the completion rules for assignments. So the default setting for assignments is when the instructor accepts the answer. So this means when your users are submitting assignments in these units, as soon as they submit the assignment, it's going to be sent off to the instructor, and the instructor is going to need to grade the assignment before your users can move forward in the course. Okay, so at this point, your users will need to await the feedback of the instructor. Now, if you want to go an alternative route here, what you can do is you can set this to when uploading an answer. When you have this option enabled, this means that as soon as your users submit their assignments, they are still sent off to the instructor for grading, but there's no waiting period. The users can simply then move on and can continue their training while they await feedback from the instructor. So you have two different options here that you can take. If feedback is quite important for this particular unit, you can go ahead and set it to the when the instructor is accepting the answer. If you would like your users to move freely through the course and continue while they await feedback, you can go with this option here as well. So two different routes you can take there. I'd also like to remind you that we covered how to work with assignments in our Seamless Learners User Evaluation webinar. I think we're also going to be posting that today in the chat, so you can always refer and refresh on what we've covered already. And with that, I'm going to touch on one more thing today, something that Anastasia has already talked a little bit about, and that's about how we can set up learning pathways via prerequisites. Now, the prerequisites tool, as Anastasia showed us, we can use that to define courses that need to be taken in order for this course to be unlocked. Now, what you can also do in TalentLMS, you can also add alternative learning pathways. So perhaps instead of doing the Mastering Negotiation course, you can also add an alternative path there, which means that if your learners complete the Agile in Practice course, they can also have access to our course that we're building now. So in this way, you can give your learners a bit of choice when they're choosing which route to take. And you may have different learners with different needs and interests, and you can give them different courses they can complete, and then they can converge on a single course, for example, this one. So this allows you a little bit more flexibility and, of course, choice when it comes to user engagement as well. So quite a handy tool there. Now, what you can also do in TalentLMS is you can combine different courses using the automations feature. This is a different way that we can create learning pathways in the system. Now, if you are on a pro subscription or higher, you'll notice that you do have access here to the automations feature. It's a highly powerful feature that allows you to automate your course enrollment, your user management. What we're going to do today is just have a quick look at how we can use automations to create some learning pathways. So I'm going to go in there and create a name for the automation, and then the trigger that I want to find here is the on course completion assign course Y. This will allow us to select courses that we want to, and then assign another course in the sequence. So as soon as your users complete this course, they're going to be automatically assigned the next course that we select here. This is a great way if you want to lay out your training for your users and create set learning pathways that take your users by the hand and unfold their courses one by one. This is a great way to set that up using the automations feature. And again, you don't have to worry here about enrolling the users. The automations will take care of that as well. So you really have two different options there to combine your courses for effective learning pathways. You can go the prerequisite route and give a bit of choice with alternative pathways, or you can simply take your users by the hand through the automations feature and have them roll out the courses to your users as they complete them as well. So that's pretty much it from my side today. I'm going to hand the mic back to Irini now so that we can look at some more useful tips inside Talent LMS.
Thank you, Danny. So let me share my screen. Although this was not a topic in the agenda, we always have some tips to share. And I hope that you all see my screen at the moment. So what are the tips that I would like to share with you? The first tip is about how to manage users within the course. And if I'm not mistaken, there's a question already from Stefan, who is saying that in the legacy interface, it was possible to complete a course for a user if needed, and if these functionalities will be available in the new interface at some point. Well, Stefan and the rest of the audience, this is something that it is available in the new interface. So I will again click the course. We've been working with Anastasia and Dani, and you see that I have a couple of users already in my users tab. Some of them are instructors, some of them are learners, and you can check really quick what is the role they have in this course, their progress at the moment, the enrollment date, the completion date, but I don't have any users completed at this point, and the expiration date as it has been set up by Anastasia, who had saved the end date. Now, if I hover on the learner, you see that I have a couple of options here, like the preview button, which will basically lead me into the user's profile, the button to remove the user from a course to unenroll, and of course, the button to enroll more people one by one is already here. And we have the completion button. So Stefan, this is what you're looking for. If I click this button here, I can set up the completion date, let's say on the 6th of March. Of course, at this point, I can also change the enrollment date. Click the save button, and now you see that the progress is being set to completed. Now, if I want to set up everything to 0 and reset the progress, of course, we have the reset button that will basically do exactly that. Reset the progress back into point 0. And of course, we also have the sync button here. And a lot of people might be wondering, what is this button about? In Talent LMS, we have the option to update our units, our content in a course at any point, even if we have people that have completed the course or are currently in progress. Now, what happens if I do that? The completed users or whoever has passed that point of update, let's say, will not be affected at all. But if you're interested of having these people completing those units again, completing the update versions of these units, the synchronize button will do exactly that. Will sync the users with the current status of the course. And another button that you see here is the update expiration date. As Anastasia demonstrated, through the time limit or the time frame, we can set up expiration dates. Of course, the time frame will will set up a fixed date that will apply to all users. The time limit will apply an expiration date based on the enrollment date. But through this button here, I can customize the expiration dates for any users for any user I prefer to do so. So for example, when it comes to Abby Barker here, I can click this button. You see that the expiration date is set to the 20th of March. But from here, I can change the expiration date and extend that. And of course, this is something that you can do for users that are currently in progress and for users that have failed, let's say, to complete the course in time, and you want to make an exception and extend that time frame without affecting any completed users. Now, the second tip that I would like to share with you is lying here. So if I click Edit Course and go to Info and Availability, you see that we have this feature here, the enrollment request. This is something that has been released recently. So what is this about? Anastasia demonstrated how we can hide courses from our course catalog, so we can have a little bit of control of who has access in our courses. And she also demonstrated the capacity. Maybe you're not interested of any of these two solutions. Maybe you're interested of having all the courses visible so everybody can see them, but you want to have control of who will be able to take them. So this is what the enrollment request will do. Basically, it will request for the learner to send a request, and the instructor will need to approve this request. Let me try that one more time. Okay, most probably it's because I have the price. So let me just remove the price from here and try that one more time. Okay, and go back to course options and availability. There it is. So if I enable the enrollment request, the learner will need to send a request to the instructor, and the instructor will approve or reject the request accordingly. And two more things, which are more for the admin's side. Speaking of those requests, how can the instructor be notified about these enrollment requests? Or how can the learner be notified about the requests that have been approved or rejected? And in general, how we can set up emails that will help us save time communicating with our learners about course assignments or course expirations, or maybe a congratulation email for getting a certificate, or maybe informing the instructors about course failures or course completions. This is something that you can achieve through the notifications, and this is something that the admins will need to set up. When you start with Talent LMS, we already have some notifications for you to get started really quick. But if you want to explore what are the possibilities that we have when it comes into building notifications, just click the add button here and explore the events. So basically what you need is when, who, and what. So these are the three conditions that we need to fill in. So the event will fill in the when that notification will go through. So let's say, for example, on course completion, of course, each event has its own rule set that you need to fill in accordingly. This is where you fill in the who. So from here, we need to select who the recipient would be. For example, the related user, and the what will be filled in here in the message area. Of course, the first line will work as the subject of this email. And we also have smart tags, those dynamic fields that can be included in that email template and populate the user details every time. And last thing, before we get into the Q&A, the reports. The reports are playing a big part when it comes following up the user's progress or the user's progress within a certain course. Of course, we have the quick buttons here that will allow you to follow up these metrics. When it comes into course reports, and I'm taking this course report, for example, we have the overview, we have the users report where you can check the list of users and their own progress in that particular course, the learning activities. But the report that I would like to talk about is the unit matrix. This is the type of report that will give you the exact status, a quick look, let's say, of the training status within that particular course. Here we have the list of units, and here on the side, the list of users. And you can tell really quick how the users are doing within the course, which are the units that they struggle the most. And this is how you can also follow up the efficiency of a course, simply just following up this unit matrix report. And with that said, I think that it's time to get into our Q&A part. And before I pass the mic to Anastasia and Dani, who I can see they have picked up a lot of questions, let me answer this question really quick, coming from Maria. Maria is asking, what is the log content? Maria, you are very observant. So what you have noticed, what Maria has noticed here is this button. So I'm just gonna click back to edit course info. And see, notice this, the content lock. Now, this is a feature that is useful for instructors, is not affecting the learners at all. So we've seen that as instructors, we're building the content. We need to share the edit rights with other people so they can follow up on our courses and their own content and give us feedback. But maybe we don't want these people to make any adjustments. Maybe we want to have full control of who will have access in our content, and we just want the content to remain as it is before getting any feedback. So if I enable this and click the save button, this is what I basically do. The content, the list of units here are locked. So no other instructor that has access in my course will be able to edit or change the order of any of the units here. Of course, they can change the course options like the availability or the limits, but when it comes into pure content, it's not possible for them to make any adjustments. As long as the lock is here, no other instructor that is being enrolled in this course will be able to affect it. And only you, the creators of this course, can reverse that simply by going back to info and detangling the lock content. So I think that Anastasia will start first with our questions. So I'm just going to stop sharing and pass the mic to Anastasia.
Thank you, Rini. Lots of great questions. Let me share my screen. And the first question will be, well, is from, let me just make sure to share the correct screen right now. Here we go. So first question comes from Cassie and is a very interesting one. If you have an evaluation survey at the end of a course and delay it, so this comes from the sections delay that I have demonstrated before, can you organize a notification alert to the user to remind them to take it? Well, the first answer will be no, because we cannot set notifications depending on the course units, but we have a workaround for you, Cassie. What if you create a different course just with the unit of, well, with the evaluation unit, the survey unit, let's say, and added as a like added as the next course to take, right? So you can complete the prerequisite course, which is the main course, and then the survey course will come next. So you can set a notification whenever the users are added to the course where the survey is. You can either use the prerequisite learning path that we showed before, or the automation learning path that Dani showed us previously. Hope this answers your questions and gives you something to practice on. Now let's move on to the next question by an anonymous attendee that says, how do you reset training time and pass tests and course and certificates to 0 for all registered people? Now, this is something that Irene has already demonstrated, but let me just go inside the critical thinking and problem solving course. Hope everybody will see my screen. So we have here all the users and what we can do. So let's say that this user, as Irene said, we can complete, right, the course for a user, and let me just complete it. But of course, similar, we can also reset here. So reset the progress so that everything will go to 0. So all the certificates will be lost, right? If we reset the progress, and the completion will be lost, just like this. And of course, if you want to do that, to perform this action for more than 1 users, you can select like this the users, and with the mass action, just reset their progress. Now, we have another question from Katie. And sorry, just lost the question. I remember it's from Katie, but give me 1 second. Sorry for that.
Maybe you're talking about the question about the anonymous attendee. How do you reset training time and pass tests and courses and certificates to 0? But you just answered that.
Yes, I have just answered that. And I'm talking about the Katie's question. If we fail an assignment, can the user proceed in the course? Thank you, Irini, for helping out. If we fail an assignment, can the user proceed in the course, or will they be prompt to redo the assignment? This is a good question, very good question, Katie. So Dani was talking about the completion rules, right? So we demonstrated that the default option for the completion rules inside the course is to completing them in a sequential order. So if the assignment will come, so after the assignment unit will come another unit, the users will not be able to complete the next unit if they fail the assignment, if it's set like this, and they will need to wait for the instructor to grade their assignment, like their assignment submission, and maybe reset their progress in order to take it again. But if it's set like this, so in any order, they will be able to move to the next unit that will come after the assignment. However, they cannot redo the assignment unit unless the instructor resets their progress on that unit. And I think I will need to send the mic to Danny, because also we have left not so many time. So Danny, I see that you have picked some more questions from the chat. So mic to you, and let me stop also sharing.
Absolutely. Thank you, Anastasia. We have a lot of questions today. Thank you very much for participating, everybody. The question I'm going to address now comes from Katie. It's about having a course that requires a scored evaluation, a course that has a test inside that passing that test will determine whether the course is completed or not. Let's jump back into the course options, and I'll show you how that's set up again and how we can manage this. So I'm just going to share my screen with you very quickly. And we're going to dive back into that course again. So what we're looking at here is we're looking at if you would like to set up a course that has a mandatory test, and passing that test will ensure that the users actually pass the course. So what we can do is we can go back into our course options there, and if we go to our completion rules over here, it's the last option over here. What we can do is we can focus on the completion rules. Okay, as we looked at before, the completion rules, they help us define how the course is going to be marked as completed. Now, Katie, you mentioned that here you have a particular test that the users need to complete. So perhaps the best thing for you to do here would be to have the selected test is passed. If this is the mandatory test that everyone needs to complete to pass the course, you can select this option, and then you can select your test. Now, important to mention here to sort of remind everyone that if your course does not have a test unit already set up, you won't be able to see this option available to you. So I'm seeing this option now as my course has two tests specifically inside this course. So let's say that this test is the one that is the mandatory course the mandatory unit that everyone needs to complete. So I can set it to this, and with this setup, if I always make sure to save your changes, by the way, once you've set this up, this will ensure that in order to complete the test, in order to complete the course, have it marked as completed, your users will need to complete this test and pass the test. Okay, I hope that helps to clarify things. If you want to go and try this out at home, of course, you can always refer back to our recording once we release it, and you can go through step by step and set up your test, and then go through and set up your completion rules after that as well. So I hope that that was helpful. I also had another question that came in from Jonathan. Jonathan was asking if we can create specific learning paths that are based on performance. That's a great question, Jonathan, and I'm going to take a look now at a couple of strategies that we can use to create learning pathways that are based on performance. Again, we're going to be looking here at the automations feature. Okay, so within the automations feature, if we go in and add a new automation, let's just give it a name. We have two different options we can take here. One of them relies on the gamification. If you are using gamification within your TalentLMS platform, if you have assigned different levels, as Anastasia was mentioning before in the course limits, you can set up an automation here that allows your users to basically unlock courses when they reach a specific gamification level. So if they acquire enough points, if they make enough progress to reach a required level, let's say level 3, for example, then you can set a course that is automatically assigned to your users. So if you want to perhaps promote your courses, or if you want to perhaps encourage your users to complete other courses, you can add this extra layer of incentive here with this automation that can unlock perhaps extra courses, additional courses to your users when they reach a particular level in gamification. Now, if you're not using gamification, that's absolutely fine. There's another way we can use here that is also based on performance, and it has to do with score. If you go for this trigger here, on course completion, with a score between K and L, assign course Y. What this means is that you can select a specific course and you can set the pass rate essentially. So let's say you have a course and you want your users, if they get between, let's say, 40 and 0 on a score, for example. Or you can perhaps we could make that a bit higher as well. If you set that up with a score range, if your users get between that score range, they're automatically going to be assigned the next course in the sequence there. This is something you can use for performance. If you want to perhaps reassign courses, if users perhaps fail a course, if they don't get a high enough score on that course, you can use this automation to perhaps reassign the course. If your users, on the other hand, get a very high score on the course, maybe you want to assign them some additional training and practice, you can set this up using the automation here as well. So this is something else that you can use. And of course, when it comes to automations, this again is based on automatic enrollment. So you don't have to worry about manually assigning the users to these courses. After, the system will take care of that for you as well. So these are two different ways here that you can create different learning pathways based on performance for your users. I hope that helps to answer your question, Jonathan. That's a good one. I'm just having a look here at some more questions.
Danny, since we only have 3 minutes left, can I answer 2 questions really quick that I just picked up from the chat? That's
Absolutely.
okay.
Absolutely. Fire away.
Great. Thank you. So let me just share my screen really quick. Now, the first question comes from an anonymous attendee. They ask, can you set a signature acknowledgement form instead of an evaluation at the end of a course? Well, we have a workaround for this, and I will not give you a lot of details since the webinar that demonstrates how to do so in detail is already posted in the chat. I'm talking about the seamless evaluation that Ioannis has posted before, but just to give you a little bit of context of what you can use as a workaround, you can utilize the survey units. So if you click add and learning activities and survey, you can then use the survey unit and use a free text question or even a multiple choice question to create that acknowledgement form. And if this is something mandatory for you, you can go to course options and completion and make sure that it will be included as a unit that will determine the completion of a course as well, either by all units are completed or selected units are completed. If you need more information of this workaround, send us an email to success@talentlms.com so we will get back to you. And the second question come from Jeff. Is there a way to share a course with a user that has no Talent LMS account yet? Well, I assume that you're selling courses with our platform, so you would like a solution that will basically help you advertise, let's say, your courses and what you deliver with your courses, what you offer before somebody signs up in your site and start purchasing. Well, this is something that you can achieve by going to course info and availability. and enable the public sharing option, which will basically allow you to create, let's say, a sample course that will be available for any internet user. So anybody can explore the content. And of course, you can either copy and paste the link whenever you want to share it, or you can send invitations. So you can start typing the email addresses here. They don't need to have any Talent LMS account. It could be any email address. And of course, there's a default message here, which you can adjust. And I think that's it. That's a wrap. So thank you all for joining this session today. A lot of questions, and I guess that you will have more. So feel free to share your questions through an email to success@talentlms.com. So we will get back to you. We hope that you've gained valuable insights on how to set up the courses and how to adjust the delivery of the courses. So Part 2 now has been completed when it comes into the Instructor Toolkit. And we're also very excited to see your comments. How did you find this Part 1 and Part 2? Or if you have any ideas that you would like to share with us, feel free by sharing your thoughts on the link that was posted in the chat. It's a very short survey where you can express your thoughts. And again, thank you all for joining. Thank you, Corina and Ioannis, for being in the background and answering all the questions during the session. And thank you, Anastasia and Dani, for hosting this session live with me.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
And until next time, happy training.